This is why Young Thug is on trial.
But be aware that you have the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself while you are there and anywhere else. Anything that you say can be used against you.
He is the one that we're all afraid of. He's the one that's king slime. He is in videos talking about messing with them, you're gonna die. They have 100 round choppers talking about weapons. They said, just screw it, take it to trial.
Social media is a wonderful tool for prosecutors in every indictment we bring nowadays.
Yeah, man, you know, they still screaming goddamn slime this, but if I need shit, slime that.
They pull up like right here. They was just filming it like, sideways behind the car in the street.
Alright, what is up everybody? We gonna talk about this YSL takedown. It's one of the craziest stories as slowly, over 9 years, the state set up wiretaps to monitor Young Thug's crew, documenting every hand gesture and tattoos and photos, captions and emojis were all collected as evidence that Young Thug's label YSL was actually an organized gang enterprise who had been in a 7-year war in Zone 3 Atlanta with the rapper YFN Lucci and his crew. And it escalated to robberies and murders. Witnesses got bribed out of testifying. And when rivals caught YSL members in a building, they forced them to strip naked and take photos, throwing up their gang signs.
Yeah, they naked. And then I tried to grab the gun like, I ain't gonna let them strip out my pockets right here.
The fans were shocked. They named Young Thug as the kingpin, saying his own members feared him for his power, and that all the events Young Thug would put on in the city were actually recruitment events for YSL, who had made so many enemies that DJs got choked out just for playing Young Thug's music. But the biggest insult for police was the whole time Young Thug was leaving hints in the music, bragging about giving the lawyers millions to handle all the killings, or on a gold record when Young Thug was rapping about, I shot at his mommy, now he no longer mentions me. He was really talking about getting Lucci's house shot up and wounding his mother in the process.
They pull up like right here. They was just filming it like, sideways behind the car.
And everything came crashing down 2 months ago on Cleveland Avenue, Young Thug's block, as Atlanta police moved in on a housing complex. They wanted to arrest the YSL member for an armed robbery, but the dude escaped, shooting an officer 6 times before they finally brought him to Fulton County. In 2 days, he got on the phone with Young Thug and asked permission to murder Thug's rival, Lucci, who was sitting in the same prison. And while Thug was trying to fly drones past the jail windows to deliver cell phones to his guys, he didn't realize the state was already 1 step ahead, and had planted cell phones with other inmates to listen in on all their calls. Now, we're getting into all this, but first, check out my song of the day.
You can't tell me the feds didn't finesse the shit out of them. You can't tell me that won't a finesse. They let them sneak cell phones in the prison or jails or wherever they at, just so they can wiretap and listen in on what they talking about, to bring more charges. If that ain't the biggest finesse, I don't know what is.
Let's go.
Bye, Liam. Don't make a mess.
Look, people that talk ain't nothing to talk about. 2,500, that's all I go walking on. You try to run me, you know that I'm popping. I feel like baby, yeah, look at my pockets now. These niggas scary, so I do not fuck around. Why since they near me, so please do not fuck around. I'm gonna marry this street, put a rock in it. I'm gonna marry this street, put a rock in it. You moving funny, I might put my Glock in it. Put it in time and I put it in the cock in it. She moving freaky, I'm putting my cock in it. If she move funny, next day, then I'm blocking it. 2,500 for she wanna shop it.
Okay, Atlanta. It's the entertainment hub of the South, the Silicon Valley of trap music, and one of the only cities who kept their clubs open during COVID, because in Atlanta, music is the currency. It's a place where the suburbs, the mansions, and the slums are all grouped together and divided up into zones that are determined by police precincts. For this particular story, we have to travel southeast to Zone 3. It's home to new stars like YFN Lucci out of Summer Hill and Young Thug, hailing from the infamous Cleveland Avenue corridor. Generally, the more south you go in Atlanta, the more dangerous it gets. Everything from the Chevron to the Exxon gas stations on Young Thug's block is gang territory. It's where YSL conduct their business. You can even find YSL's rivals patrolling these gas stations brazenly in a vlog 2 months ago, and the dude filming had no idea he was on Young Thug's territory with the ops.
This where we at, man?
Man, look, bro, we on Op Block. Ain't nothing but slimes around us, bro. This whole area where we at, it's still slime shit.
See, most fans know YSL as Young Stoner Life, the name of Thug's label. But that's corporate camouflage for the real name of YSL, Young Slime Life, which over the years had built into a gang syndicate, connected the blood sets across the East Coast and a sprinkle of Crips from the city. What Thug's been able to do since being famous is incorporate their slang into the music, making it popular, with fans around the world saying slime or slat, meaning slime life at all times. Your slime is your brother, somebody you trust, but also to slime someone out is to do them dirty. It started as a blood term in New York and traveled along the East Coast. Now Atlanta crews like YSL get the credit for popularizing it. And there's a lot of slime shit that goes down in Atlanta. The state even accused 2 YSL members of passing around phone numbers to orchestrate the murder of one of their own guys 2 months ago. Now that's real slime shit. The merch site where you can buy Thug's clothing is all green colors and slime themed, with YSL lingo being heavily branded in the imaging and the music over the years, generating tens of millions of dollars. But this was also a way for the government to track the gang's communications on social media. Everything from hand signs to snake emojis and green hearts became identifiers for Atlanta police, who knew Young Thug since...
Now I'm starting to understand the RICO Act. Why they charged with RICO.
he was a kid, when he broke his English teacher's arm, punched him in the face, and was forced to do 4 years in juvie as a result.
Thug punched the teacher in 8th grade. Now he got kicked out.
Punched the teacher?
He punched the teacher in the mouth. Bah! Thug, I'm gonna be 100. Thug come from the slums. I'm talking about like the dirt.
Young Thug was a popular kid in and around the Cleveland Avenue area. You could even see him here at the famous Cleveland Avenue functions as he plotted on making it big in rap. And by 2013, Young Thug signed to Gucci Mane for $25,000 and was already dropping hits, all while his crew was committing robberies, hijacking cars, gifting him stolen weapons that the police knew all about. By the next year, Young Thug was famous, and it was confusing because he would wear dresses, saying 90% of his wardrobe was women's clothing. But he had backing from big-time bloods like Birdman, who took him under his wing. It became obvious how serious Thug was when the game tried to instigate a beef with him and ended up apologizing quickly.
Real nigga won't apologize, and shit ain't nothing, man. It's all love, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I would take that one. Shit.
It's all good.
Together with Rich Homie Quan, who was also buzzing out of Atlanta, they were the faces of Rich Gang, an unstoppable duo. But by 2015, Rich Homie and Young Thug suddenly split, with clips going viral of Quan calling Thug gay at a concert. The media believed this was the reason they fell apart. But the story goes much deeper.
How does it feel to make a meal when you ain't even signed yet? I'm sitting here like fuck a deal, cause it ain't even crossed my mind yet.
Valium, don't make a mess!
See Rich Homie Quan with Soulja Boy, Young Thug, all together, having a good time. The man you see in the back here was Rich Homie Quan's manager, Donovan Thomas, who also happened to be the leader of the Inglewood family bloods from the neighborhoods just north of Young Thug's block, Cleveland Avenue. Donovan Thomas was known in Southeast Atlanta as Nut, and on the surface, Young Thug and Nut were friendly and even had a business relationship. But just 3 months later, it all changed. One night in the new year of 2015, Nut was outside a barbershop in Castle Hill, Atlanta, waiting to get a haircut, and a silver Infiniti creeped in from the east side. The car stopped in front of the barber's, rolled the windows down, and bullets started spraying out, killing Nut and wounding a 14-year-old boy. The 5 people in the Infiniti sedan were all YSL members, and the car itself was traced through a rental car service by the state back to Young Thug's government name, who had rented it out just 3 months before. 2 weeks after the murder, Thug was on a jail call with the leader of the Sex Money Murder Blood set stationed in Atlanta, saying sacrifices had to be made and soldiers had to fall in order for the battle to be won. It was rumors that Nut had turned state and become an informant for the government, creating turbulence in the blood hierarchy. YSL had to eliminate him quick. 16 days after, Thug posted a video to Instagram saying, "You lie to your family, then get in the courtroom and tell the truth. Y'all need to get fucking killed, bro. From me and YSL." 3 months later, Lil Wayne's tour bus would get shot up on the highway in Atlanta. The YSL henchman was arrested for the shooting, with Birdman getting on a Taft phone call with this YSL associate, telling him he did everything he could and to come get his money.
Taft just come out here and get this money. Just money, use flesh, use it, everything is a do, boy. Strictly business.
See, it was clear.
So in other words, Birdman set Lil Wayne up to get killed.
The state that YSL was actively using their power. And back in Zone 3, the killing of Nut had spawned a war that was amplified by the music. YSL had the advantage with Young Thug's position in the music industry, but Nut was mentoring an upcoming rapper named YFN Lucci from Summer Hill, just north of Young Thug's block. And Lucci would mount an offensive against Thug that would escalate dramatically, catching a bunch of YSL members that same year and forcing them to strip naked, saying fuck their gang.
Yeah, they naked. Ain't nobody tried to grab the gun like, I ain't gonna let them strip out my pockets right here.
Lucci was also making good music that had practically the whole city of Atlanta in his corner. And he began using the internet to antagonize Young Thug, bragging about how he slept with Thug's fiancée, singing about having threesomes with her in songs, then wishing happy birthday to one of Young Thug's daughters publicly, even posting a photo of her to his Instagram. But the payback was swift and nasty. Within weeks, Lucci's house got shot up, wounding his mother in the process. At the same time, Young Thug was elevating his YSL guys like Gunna into the industry, growing their fan base. All while back in Southeast Atlanta, YSL was hijacking cars, robbing guns, and gifting them to Young Thug and Gunna, who were moving militant, like it was a war erupting, even getting pulled over in a different county for speeding while riding with a security detail filled with YSL members who were strapped up with AK-47s.
You got dope, you got money, you got guns. Trifecta, okay?
But Young Thug always seemed to get out of trouble, bonding out, dodging the charges, and that same year, dropping a massive record with Juice WRLD. In it, Thug brags about YFN Lucci's mother getting shot, saying, I shot at his mommy, now he no longer mentions me. But the music was being carefully examined by the APD, and a few months later, tensions escalated further, when Thug found Lucci's car at the world-famous Lenox Mall, and posted a photo of it, saying if it weren't for what Lucci did for his own family, that he would have killed him. But just months later, in an interview, Thug said it was all for fun, and that he wished Lucci nothing but success.
What's going on with you and YFN Lucci? Sometimes I just like to have fun. It's no hard feelings. I hope he get richer than me. Take care of his family for life.
He was lying through his teeth, because back in Atlanta, Lucci was the target in 2 separate shootings within 2 weeks of each other, as YSL members snuck around Lucci's neighborhood at night and found him filming a music video inside a fenced-in complex. They started taking pot shots at him, with Lucci's crew returning fire in the darkness.
Everybody started shooting. They just started shooting back. We kind of knew like the area where they were coming from, but like they was outside of it. Somebody shot my fucking road rush who were with us, man. Nigga ass on the ground, shooting on the fucking ground.
All while this was going on, the younger YSL members were expanding operations into the northeast side of the city, breaking into railroad depots, looking for shipping containers, and robbing them of their contents, posting photos of these lists on their phones of all the crews they were at war with, and that same year, traveling to the graveyard where Nut was buried, and spray painting Slat in big green letters all over his tombstone.
I don't think y'all nigga got more than us is dead now. We wrote this shit in blood.
I got hair before slide.
And we also wrote on them tombstones.
It was only a few months later, one of YSL's most prominent members had just beat a murder conspiracy case. You know him as the rapper Yak Gotti, who in 2015 was caught with rifles speeding on the highway on the way to do a retaliation hit. After another YSL member was shot and beat up at the Magic City strip club, the two picked up rifles, then got into a high-speed chase with police, crashing into a guardrail. Yak Gotti did 4 years in federal prison as a result, and was now free and building up a rap career with Thug's backing. And just before Halloween, they found Lucci's car again at Lenox Mall. And Gotti decided to take a photo standing on top of the car, flipping the middle finger. When Lucci caught wind of it, Gotti turned the photo into a single cover. It was great for promo, but equally good for the police, who were quietly documenting every social media post. They would later reveal Gotti as one of the 5 members riding in the car the night of Nut's murder at the barbershop. And this photo on top of Lucci's car, in the state's eyes, proves that Gotti was actively making threats on behalf of YSL.
Valium,
And just a few months after Gotti took that photo, back in Atlanta, Lucci and some YFN members were riding in his Maybach, driving in the southwest side, Oakland City, Little Baby's neighborhood. They were looking for enemies, and when they found some, the YFN guys started shooting from the Maybach. The people they were shooting at sprawled out for cover, ducked, and shot back, hitting one of Lucci's guys in the head. As he clung onto the Maybach doors, his own guys pushed him out the car and drove off, leaving him to die in the street.
Adams was killed in a gun battle that developed. Then, a short distance from the scene, was dumped from the Maybach.
Treated like trash, some would say.
This failed drive-by triggered a 112-count RICO indictment of Lucci and his entire crew. The district attorney, who was only elected in January of that year, had been promising to go after any and all rappers with mob ties. She was doing exactly that.
These people that are committing violence, I'm taking a hard stance on them. In prison is where they're headed.
News of Lucci's takedown hit Atlanta hard as police intercepted direct messages of YSL members talking about how the state is trying to indict them on a specific body. They were talking about Nuts' murder. And to the government's surprise, the YSL members they were monitoring kept posting to social media talking about wartime, it's time to lace up, something that baffled APD, who couldn't believe the online antics were continuing.
The brazen attitude.
I couldn't believe it either. I just can't believe the stupidity. I can't.
They have. It's amazing what they're willing to put on social media, what they're willing to talk about, what they're willing to show picture-wise.
Just 2 months into the next year, 2022, in Fulton County Prison, a guard opened 2 jail doors simultaneously, leaving Lucci alone and exposed. He was attacked by a YSL member who started
That guard set him up, I believe. I believe that guard set him up. He had something to do with that.
stabbing him with a homemade shank. But Lucci survived, and the next month, the mother of Young Thug's child was murdered in Atlanta.
They laughed, shoot. They laughed at us when they drove off in the car still shooting. They laughed while my sister was on that ground.
Most believed it was retaliation for the attack on Lucci, but it was actually just a freak coincidence. A random argument at a bowling alley that led to someone pulling the trigger and killing Young Thug's baby mama, which shows you how violent Atlanta was getting. Local journalist George Cheedy says this is only the beginning of a systemic takedown of rap crews in the city that are tied to violence.
It's gonna get worse? I think so. Like I said, there are other prosecutions coming. They're gonna be chock-a-block every month or two, probably for years, until the murder rate starts to fall.
See, Georgia is one of only 7 states with RICO laws at the state level, and they've been taking down crews left and right. First, the feds arrested Rallo, who they claim was charting planes carrying millions of dollars worth of weed across state lines. Then the state took down Hood Rich Pablo and 25 of his guys on a RICO stint in Zone 6. Then last year, the DA nabbed YFN Lucci, and this year, they took down Young Thug and YSL. With 200 pieces of evidence the state is ready to present, you're gonna see serious discussions on what's classified as art versus what the government can use in your music against you. That's it for this video. Leave me a comment on what video I should do next.
All I got to say is, somebody snitching. But like, share, and subscribe.